Okay, good morning, dear cadets. So, again, we are here to teach you the rest part of chapter number 1, that is the chemical reactions and equations. Okay, so almost everything I have completed. Only two things are left. What are these two things? These two things are effects of oxidation reaction in everyday life. So there are basically two effects in our daily life as far as the oxidation reaction is concerned. First one is the corrosion, second one is the rancidity. So one by one I will teach, and I hope that you have done well in the chemistry in the monthly test, and these two things are not included in your monthly test syllabus, but these two are the part of this unit only. So you have to cover this one also, okay? And just see, take each and every exam seriously. You might have seen the change in the pattern of examination system by CBSE. So this year two exam would be there, board exam, term first, term second, and just see, term first and term second. Term first would be exclusively MCQ type, and term 2 would be descriptive type. So MCQ you can only solve when there is a thorough study, thorough revision, thorough practice. Okay, so please just do all those things seriously, read the book properly, solve as much as possible MCQ type of question. Keeping in mind this only, I have given MCQ type of questions only in your monthly test. Okay, so I hope that this has served the purpose, and next time also I will try hard to give you the MCQ type of questions, but based on reason assertion type, so that you should have enough practice before the term first exam. Okay, and syllabus would also be divided into two parts, term 1 syllabus and term 2 syllabus. So I hope that you have already make up your mind to get adjusted with such kind of changes. Okay, but you have to work hard, and each and every exam you should take seriously. In case term first and term second exam take place online, then these monthly test, periodic test, their exam will have a lot of weightage. So keeping in mind all those things, you should not leave any exam unattempted. You should take care, you should take all those exams seriously, because ultimately they are going to contribute towards your overall percentage. Okay, so now I am going to complete the effects of oxidation reactions in everyday life. So the first effect is corrosion. What is the corrosion? Corrosion is the slow process of eating up of the surface of metals by the action of atmospheric gases such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, or hydrogen sulfide, moisture and chemicals. So what is the corrosion? Corrosion is the process of slowly eating up of the surface of metals by the action of atmospheric gases, moisture and chemicals. Okay, so just see, in atmospheric how many types of gases are there? Many gases are there, but as far as the corrosion is concerned, basically four gases, they are contributing a lot: oxygen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide. They are meant for corrosion. Okay, so once again I am revising the definition of corrosion. Corrosion is the process of slowly eating up of the surface of metals by the action of atmospheric gases, moisture and chemicals. Gases means oxygen, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. Here in the bracket I wrote. Now what are the examples of corrosion? There are basically three examples of corrosion in our daily life. Okay, the first one, that is the foremost example, that is rusting of iron. Everybody is aware about the rusting of iron. Brown color flakes deposited on iron articles or iron object, that is only rust. Okay, rust is different substance from the iron. It is the brown color flakes which is getting deposited over iron or iron objects. Brown color flakes, FLAKES, okay, and slowly it comes off, and now rest layer of the iron objects gets exposed to the atmosphere. So slowly entire iron will be eaten up by the atmospheric oxygen and moisture in this way. Okay, so just see chemically how you will represent the rust formation. So this is the iron, Fe, that is the symbol of iron. Okay, and what are the two essential conditions for the rusting? There are two essential conditions for the rusting. First one is the moisture, second one is the air. Moisture, air means oxygen. Okay, so there are basically two essential conditions. First one is the presence of oxygen in the air, second one is the presence of water vapor or moisture in the air. If these two things are there, then only rusting will be taken place. This is the only reason, that is why in coastal areas the rate of rusting is very fast. Why? Because in the coastal area atmosphere contains a lot of moisture. Okay, so that is why coastal areas iron objects feel more rate of corrosion or more rate of rusting. Okay, so just see iron, now 3/2 oxygen. Oxygen means air, both things are present in the air. Just see this one, both are present in the air. Water vapor, this is XH2O. Okay, XH2O, this is moisture, this is oxygen. They react together and they form hydrated iron oxide. Hydrated means presence of water with iron oxide. So this is Fe2O3.XH2O, hydrated iron oxide. Hydrated iron oxide, this is rust. Fe2O3.XH2O, this is rust. Okay, what is this one? Rust. Hydrated iron oxide, that is rust. Okay, so chemically rust is nothing but a hydrated iron oxide. Okay, rust, this is brown flakes. What is this one? Brown flakes. Okay, this is the first example of corrosion. Rusting of iron is the first example of corrosion. Second example is formation of green coating on copper. Okay, you might have seen the copper vessels at your home. Okay, copper pots are there or not? Jug is there, some other utensils are there, especially at home. Those who are worshipping, they are mostly using the copper vessels. Okay, so in the copper vessels over the period of time there is a coating of green color. What is that green coating? This is also an example of corrosion only. So just see, corrosion of copper vessels is also because of atmospheric gases only. Carbon dioxide, this is present in the air. Oxygen, this is also present in the air. This is H2O, that is the moisture present in the air. So that is why I have written here from moist air. So copper, that is the rustable material. Here iron was the rustable material. Here copper is the rustable material. This copper react with carbon dioxide, atmospheric carbon dioxide, oxygen and moisture. Okay, and form basic copper carbonate. What is basic copper carbonate? Basic copper carbonate, basic means copper hydroxide. Carbonate means CuCO3. CuCO3. So CuCO3.XH2O. And here what was there? Fe2O3.XH2O. Okay. So this is XH2O means hydrated. Hydrate means water. This water is associated with iron oxide. And here this copper hydroxide is associated with copper carbonate. Copper carbonate, that is why its name is basic copper carbonate. Basic means copper hydroxide, carbonate means copper carbonate. So CuCO3.CuH whole twice. So this is basic copper carbonate. What is this one? This is green color. What is this one? Green color coating. Okay, on iron vessels and copper vessels. and slowly the surface of copper vessels will be eaten up. Okay, so this is another example of corrosion. Third example is black coating on silver. Black coating on silver. Just see, you might have seen the silver ornaments over the period of time they blackened. Why? Because silver ornaments react with atmospheric gas, that is hydrogen sulfide, H2S. This is also present in the air, and it reacts and it forms Ag2S, that is silver sulfide. Ag2S means silver Ag single positive, sulfide is 2 negative, crisscross this one, so Ag2S. This is silver sulfide, this is black color. What is this one? Black color. This is silver sulfide, black color substance. What is this one? Black color substance. Okay, so over the period of time silver ornaments become black due to the formation of silver sulfide. So this is another example of corrosion. So once again there are three common examples of corrosion: formation of rust on iron object, on the surface of iron object, formation of green coating on copper vessels, formation of black coating on silver ornaments or silver object. These are the three examples of corrosions. Now question, what are the harmful or damaging effects of corrosion, and what are the methods to prevent the corrosion? That should also be taught. Okay, so what are the harmful effects of corrosion? Okay, corrosion cause damage to car bodies, bridges, iron railings, ships, and to all objects made of metals. So more or less, just see, objects which are made up of metals, they are being affected by corrosion. Okay, how? Just see, ships major part is always inside the seas, and sea water is saline water, salty water. So due to the presence of salt, the rate of rusting would be fast, and this is the only reason that is why many parts of ships are replaced almost every year. So a lot of money is spent on that process. These are the harmful effects of corrosion. So corrosion causes damage to car bodies, bridges, iron railings, ships, and to all objects made of metals. One such example of ships I have given you. These may affect our car bodies also, automobiles also. Okay, so every year a large amount of money is spent to replace the rusted iron and steel structure. That is why in automobile sector they are using such kind of metals which are corrosion free, and for corrosion free metal they are taking the alloys like stainless steel. In stainless steel, what is there? Almost it is rust free. What they are adding? They are taking nickel, chromium, some amount of manganese, and carbon and iron. Means along with iron they will add some more metals like nickel, chromium, manganese. These are rust free metals. Okay, so when alloy they are using, like in the Sainik school you might have seen that your benches are there, they are made up of stainless steel, and just see, almost for 10 to 20 years they are being used, but they are rust free because stainless steel is alloy. Okay, so what are the methods to prevent the rusting? Just see, what are the two essential conditions of rusting? Moisture should be there in the air and oxygen should be present in the air. Okay, so anyhow, if these two things does not come into contact of iron object, rusting will not be there. So that is why iron objects are painted, so that iron objects upper surface does not come into contact of air and moisture. So by painting is one of the method. By oiling and greasing, when you apply oil or grease on the surface of iron object, then moisture and air will not come into contact of iron object and it will be free from rusting or corrosion. By galvanization, what is the galvanization? In the lower classes you have studied, galvanization is nothing but a coating of zinc on iron object surface. Okay, because zinc is more reactive metal than iron. So when moisture and air will come in the contact of iron object, so first who will be exposed? Zinc will be exposed. So zinc will be rusted first, and now your iron object will be safe. That is why it is called sacrificial protection. Sacrificial protection means zinc is sacrificing his life for the sake of iron. Okay, so galvanization is the process of coating of zinc on iron object. Generally it doesn't mean that only zinc is coated. Sometime more reactive metal is coated. Zinc is one of the example, but if zinc is coated, then that process will be called galvanization. Okay, if other metal other than zinc, if it is coated, that is called sacrificial coating or sacrificial protection. Okay, one more you can write, fourth one method, alloying. Okay, alloying example just now I gave you, stainless steel. By alloying also rusting can be prevented. Okay, so these are the some of the methods to prevent the rusting. It doesn't mean that rusting is always harmful. You might have heard about the self-protecting metals. There are two metals, they are called self-protecting metals, aluminium and magnesium. This is advantages of corrosion, means advantageous effect of corrosion. In some places corrosion is advantageous also. Just see, aluminium and magnesium, they are called the self-protecting metal. How? Aluminium, that is very reactive metal, magnesium is also reactive metal, so they react with atmospheric oxygen. Suppose this is aluminium surface, so it react with atmospheric oxygen and it forms protective layer of aluminium oxide, protecting layer of aluminium oxide, Al2O3. What is this one? This form protecting layer of aluminium oxide. Okay, Al2O3. Now this protecting layer will protect the aluminium for further corrosion. Okay, so this layer is protecting layer, and this layer is formed because of the formation of aluminium oxide. So now here corrosion is advantageous because it is preventing the aluminium from the further corrosion. Okay, same is the case with magnesium. Suppose this is the layer of magnesium, it will also form the protecting layer of magnesium oxide. This aluminium will react with atmospheric oxygen and it will form Al2O3. Similarly, this magnesium will react with atmospheric oxygen and it will form magnesium oxide. This layer is magnesium oxide. What is this one? Now this magnesium oxide layer preventing the magnesium from further corrosion or rusting. So what is there? Here in case of self-protecting metal, corrosion is advantageous. Okay, so aluminium, magnesium is called self-protecting metals because they form protective layer of their oxides, Al2O3 MgO, on their surface. That is why they are called self-protecting metal, because they are protecting themselves. Okay, by forming the oxides layer on their surface. Aluminium is forming aluminium oxide, Al2O3, magnesium is forming magnesium oxide on their surface, and these oxides layer rendering these metals passive from the corrosion. Okay, in this way corrosion is completely completed. Another example of oxidation reaction in our daily life is rancidity. Okay, so second effects of oxidation reaction in our daily life is rancidity. Okay, what is rancidity? You might have heard about the stale food. Stale food means the food which is left over and you have kept outside. So what is there? Two things are there. Number one thing is that stale food, means leftover food, overnight leftover food, that produces foul smell and their taste is also bad. Okay, are you getting? So have you thought of this process, why it is producing foul smell, why their taste is bad? Have you thought of this one? Simple thing is there. In the food stuff, whatever oil and fats are there, they are getting oxidized. They are getting oxidized due to the presence of atmospheric oxygen, and they are forming the compound which are volatile. Volatile means easily evaporate. So since they easily evaporate, that is why what is there? Foul smell is coming. And some food, some substance which are formed, they are non-volatile. They are non-volatile, they will be present with that food only. So they will produce the bad taste. So just see, stale food means overnight leftover food, they produces bad taste and foul smell due to oxidation of oil and fats present in that food. This process is only called rancidity. So what is the rancidity? The oxidation of oils or fats present in food resulting into formation of bad smell and bad taste. Okay, so rancidity is the process of oxidation of oils and fats present in the food resulting into formation of bad taste and bad odor, smell. That is called rancidity. This process, have you got this? So why rancidity is there? Why bad taste and bad odor is there? Due to the presence of fats and oil in the food stuff and their oxidation causes due to the presence of oxygen in the air. So those fats and oil gets oxidized due to atmospheric oxidation and forming volatile substances, volatile compounds which produces the foul smell. Volatile means easily evaporating. So they evaporate, that is why smell is foul. And some substances, they are bitter in taste, they will be present in there, that is why taste is also bad. Okay, now question arises here, how to prevent the rancidity? So rancidity, just see, rancidity, try to understand. Anyhow, if we slow down the process of oxidation of oils and fats present in the food, then our food will be safe for some period. Try to understand. Don't think that you keep the substance for 1 month or 2 months or 1 year and it will be safe. No. One day it has to be spoiled. It has to be spoiled due to atmospheric oxidation. Okay, but try to understand, for some period we can control. How? By slowing down the oxidation process. Okay, so how we can slow down the oxidation process? By addition of antioxidants. Just see, oils and fats, they are getting oxidized by the atmospheric oxidation. If we add the substances which are antioxidants in nature. Antioxidants means the substances which slows down the oxidation of fats and oil. Such kind of substances should be added to the food stuff. Then what is there? Oxidation process will be slows down. This is sodium benzoate. What is this one? Sodium benzoate is one such kind of material. This is antioxidants. Sodium benzoate is antioxidants. Okay, it slows down the oxidation process. Next one is why vacuum packing. Why vacuum packing? Okay, what is the meaning of vacuum packing? Just see, wherever you are storing the food container or any packets, so first what should be there? All air should be flushed out. No air should be present, because in the air only oxygen is there. So the vacuum means what is there? Flushing out all the air present in the container or packets. Okay, so when these what to say air is completely removed, and if that container or packets are sealed, then inside the container or packets no oxygen would be there, and now those food stuffs which you have kept there, now they will be safe for some period of time. Always remember that rancidity cannot be controlled for long period of time. Almost 1 year, 6 months, 2 months, that's only enough. Even in the fridge you are keeping the substance that can be preserved just for 2-3 days. Afterwards what would be there? That will also be spoiled only. Okay, so this one vacuum packing means flushing out all the air present in the container or packets and then sealing it. Okay, so that air present, oxygen present in the air should be removed. Okay, so in this way also oxidation process can be slows down. Next one is replacing air by nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen is inert gas. What kind of gas this one? Inert gas. It does not react with the oils and fat present in the food. Okay, so if oxygen is replaced by if oxygen is replaced by nitrogen, okay, and just see, you might have seen the Kurkure chips packets. There are Uncle chips, Kurkure, Lays, so many packets you might have seen, and you might have seen that their packets are very, what to say, as if they are balloon, something is there, and when you are tearing, so what is there? One gas is coming out, as if something is coming out. What is that one? That is nitrogen only. So why they have added nitrogen inside the packets? Because nitrogen is inert gas and it does not react with the oils and fats present in the food stuffs. So food stuffs, so the oxidation process is automatically slows down. Okay, and your food will be kept for long period of time. Okay, long period of time. That is why oxygen should be replaced by nitrogen. And which quality of nitrogen is suited for replacing the oxygen? Because nitrogen is inert gas. What is this one? Inert gas. Inert means it does not react. It does not. Oxygen will react with the oils and fats, but nitrogen will not react, and your food will be safe. Correct? One more thing is there, and that is a very important thing. Wherever nitrogen atmosphere is there, microbes will not develop there. Microorganism will not develop because it creates inert atmosphere. So the microorganism growth can be hampered. So nitrogen has got two benefits. Number one, it does not react with the it does not react with the oils and fats present in the food stuffs. Second one, it creates the inert atmosphere so that the growth of microorganism can be hampered. Because of these two reasons, nitrogen is used. Please remember this one and note down also. Nitrogen has got two qualities. Number one, it is inert gas, does not react with the oils and fats present in the food stuffs. Second one, it creates inert atmosphere, and due to inert atmosphere, the growth of microorganism can be hampered. Hampered means stops. Okay, that is why nitrogen is used to replace the oxygen. The last one is refrigeration of the food stuff. Refrigeration means keeping the food stuff at low temperature. Okay, so this I wrote this side, storage of food at low temperature so that oxygen slows down. Just see, daily you are keeping the food at fridge or not? That is only refrigeration, means storing the food at low temperature so that the oxidation process can be slowed down. Okay, so for some period of time, 1 week, 2 days, 3 days, you can keep the food material in the fridge at low temperature. Okay, this is called refrigeration. So these are the some of the methods to slow down the oxidation of fats and oil present in the food. Okay, and indirectly this is the method of preventing the rancidity. So I hope that you will complete all those things. So in this way this chapter is completely completed. Only NCERT exercise is left. So tomorrow, with the help of extra marks, I will show you all the questions. Okay, and some of the question I will explain also. Most of the question I have already solved while explaining the chapter. Thank you.